Hi! I want to use this beautiful pattern from the Stampin' Up! Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper for a hand stamped card I was designing. So of course I wanted my daisy to look a lot like the daisies on this paper. And so I would need to use a light ink on white. So that meant tone on tone was out of the question. And so then I tried sponging. Oh, that really didn't work. So I'm going to share with you what I did as I demonstrate how to make my Stampin' Up! Daisy Delight card with the coordinating daisy punch. Welcome to StampingSmiles.com. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 16 years I've been teaching others how to create their own hand stamped smiles. So in addition to showing you how I got my flower to look pretty similar to that of the Designer Series paper, I've got another tip to share with you. Here's a closer view of the Daisy Delight stamp set and the coordinating daisy punch. And when you order the two together using the special bundle item number I have listed right here, you'll save 10% on both. And here's that beautiful pattern of delightful Daisy Designer Series paper we're going to be using today. And so Stampin' Up! Does something quite lovely for us. On the back of each package of Designer Series paper, they list all of the coordinating colors. And so maybe by now you've noticed that often it's a shade of that color, so then it still coordinates with the cardstock. But I'm looking at this and there aren't any purples listed and thinking, boy, that sure looks like Wisteria Wonder to me. And so I called Stampin' Up! Because Night and Navy is the closest, and they said, no, that's just a lighter shade of it. Well, look at this. I mean, it's a perfect match. So, okay, we've got yet another color. We'll be using Wisteria Wonder today. So we're ready to start stamping. So I have some Whisper White cardstock, and boy, you really want Whisper White cardstock when you're using white cardstock for your stamping, or very vanilla for when you want that vanilla shade, because the finish on this is designed to take ink for beautiful stamped images. There's just no comparison. So we're going to start with the Wisteria Wonder, which we now know is a lighter shade of Night and Navy, and classic Stampin' Pad. We're going to push, flip, and lock that lid into place. Okay, so I have my daisy punch, and I purposely mounted it where it was pretty much straight up and down. That's because the punch is. That's going to make it a lot easier when I need to punch that out. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is a photopolymer stamp, so the rubber is clear. So let's give that a good inking. And we don't want to get too far from the edge because we need for the punch to be able to reach it. There's one. And I mean, that's okay, but I think the magic happens when we have two of them. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. All right. And so I want to do some more stamping. So I'm going to close this for right now. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to pull that lip, flip, and click. Because if I don't, I have a tendency to go into the wrong pad. We don't want to do that. Okay, so one of the coordinating greens is Old Olive. So we're going to push, flip. There we go. And lock that in place. Okay, and this is a two-step stamp. That means it takes 2 steps to finish it because we're going to be able to fill it in. So we're going to start with the darkest image. And I want 3 of these leaves. 1. Oh, I didn't do a good job. Let's try that again. All right. 2, 3, because that first one just doesn't count. Okay, and so to fill in, I want a lighter version of this. So this is just a really easy technique. It's called stamping off. So we just stamped off some of the ink. Oh, that's the one I rejected. All right, come over here, and because we can see through it, look at that. Now it's easiest if you start with the darkest stamp, all right, the darkest ink, I should say, because it's easier to see through a lighter color. So there we go. We have those all filled in. Lovely, lovely, lovely. We're done with this. We're going to pull in that, flip. And you hear that click, you know it's closed and it isn't going to dry on you. Okay, so now we have our daisy punch. We're going to push the locking mechanism to open it up and center it right in here. Oh, that's looking pretty good, huh? I'm going to tilt it up so I can see. Yeah, that's looking really good. Let's punch. Okay. Hopefully I didn't get too close to the edge on this one. Oh, nope, I had room left over. I thought, uh-oh, Shelley. Because I don't know, I tend to go up too far, then I have to trim the cardstock to get to it. So I'm trying to get better about getting closer to the edge, but not too close. Okay, that's centered. Oh, lovely. Isn't that just wonderful? Okay, so we don't have a punch for the leaves, but they'll be easy to cut out with the paper snips. Boy, I just love my paper snips. They're easy to hold on to, and they just make it really easy to do this detail cutting. Look at that. I'm just going to follow along. There we go. And trim those out. So let me finish cutting these 3, and then I'm going to show you how I shaded my daisy. We have our 2 punched daisies we're going to layer, and our 3 hand trim leaves. We have a little bit more stamping to do. We're going to make a banner for our greeting. At first I tried Old Olive, but it was a lighter color than I wanted, but I didn't want anything as harsh as black. So I used Tranquil Tide because, see, it's one of the coordinating colors in our paper. Here's the Old Olive leaves, and then we have the Tranquil Tide. Okay, so again, push, flip, yeah, you've got that. And our greeting. Your thoughtfulness brighten my day. And let's get this. We're going for the center. Oh, fantastic. Okay. And so then it was a little bit lighter than I wanted. Okay. I wanted to fill it in a little bit, and there are just so many cool stamps in this stamp set. So I'm going to bring back Old Olive. And then we have, whoops, this little stem. We're going to be stamping off the edge. You're just wanting a little hint of color. There we go. Done with that. And then one of the coordinating colors from the paper is Calypso Coral. And then we've got the 2-step. Okay, so we're going to ink this up and line it up. Isn't that cute? Line it up. Love 2 steps because it gives us that chance to get 2 colors. You know, I've got 1 color for the stem and then 1 color for the little flowers. Great. We're going to set that aside to dry for right now before I start handling it, because the ink does dry really quickly, but you know, it's not, if I rub it, it might smear. So now let's do this shading. So we're going to use the Wisteria Wonder. Okay, so look, right now, that's just really, you know, even once I do that, that's really a lot of white. And so let's look at this again. Do you see how it's shaded more? So it's not completely filled in. That's the sponging just didn't look good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to push on the stamp pad down into that lid. We got some color in there. And a blender pen worked beautifully for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step in here and pick up some color, and look. Because if you saw a video where I showed you how to shade in with a really detailed image, well, there just wasn't enough to pull from here, but we're going to step in here from the pad and look at that. Because you know how flowers, well, that's how our flower looks. We can leave it right here. You know, darker around the center. Isn't that sharp? And so if some of the color bleeds because we're getting it wet, it's okay because we're using all the same color. And I still wanted more shading, so went around the tips, you know, and I kept looking at my image. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's certainly going to look a lot nicer when we're done. Not quite so much white, but still have that white look. Isn't that easy? And we do need to do both because we're going to see the petals. We don't need to do that center on that one, but we need to do like this, okay? So if you want to get really fancy, you can look at, oh, I'm liking that, you know, because that's how this looks, you know, and you could even do some darker on some of them, like that one is, okay? Blender pens are pretty cool. So keeping that same idea, we're going to be covering that up. Okay. You know, we're going to see the petals though, so we need to do this part. It's kind of cool. After you start playing around, you go and look at the flowers in your flower garden, you see how they are darker towards the center. And just that looks pretty sharp, right? It just, wow. But then when we go ahead and do some more shading around here, And you can get different shades of color, you saw, depending on how much we put down. Okay, almost there. Fantastic. Isn't that sharp? Okay, so let's go ahead and close that. We know we're done with that. And to clean this off, because you don't want to have Wisteria Wonder when you go in the next color, you just do it till it comes clear. Be easier to see on some white paper. Here's something that I trimmed off. There we go, and it's coming clear, so I know it's ready for the next time I use it. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. So we're not done. We need a center for our flower, and Daffodil Delight is the coordinating color. Push, flip, right? Okay. Now we really only need to do the center of one of these. Let's pick our favorite. Yeah. Boy, I'm having a hard time. They both look so good. Oh, nice. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so we're going to put that up. So now let's put these two together. We've got some fast fuse adhesive, or you could use a mini glue dot. That would work too. And then we want to separate these. Oh, very, very pretty. Okay. And now we have some leaves that we'll put on. You know, I think I'm going to put those on afterwards. Okay, so we've got this stamping done, and what we're going to do is we're going to make some fishtails. And I'm just going to use my paper snips, and I'm going to come in and cut up to the center, or cut to about the same spot, okay? There, and I want one on each end. I know what's going to go down at this end, so I purposely didn't want to fill this in. And so then, there we go. We've just made ourselves a tag. Okay, so my daisy is going to go on, and I wanted a banner. It gets a little bit trickier trying to do it on a little piece. That's pretty easy. You get to a larger piece like this, it does get trickier. So what we're going to do is, you're going to see how easy this is. We're just going to measure, and we're going to go halfway in between. So this is 2 1/4. So we're going to go to 1 1/4, and how far up we'd like to go. I don't want a real deep one, so this is as far as I'd like to go. And we're just going to put a little dot there. There we go. Okay, now it's super easy because we're going to always come from the corner. We went to the center, cut from the corner up to that dot. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing right here. Okay, we just need to finish that. There we go. Now, doesn't that look nice? And so you can do the same thing with a smaller one. If you have trouble, you know, trimming like that, just go ahead and do a quick little dot in the center about how far up you went, and look, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now we're ready to put it all together. I stamped a little border. I did tone on tone Wisteria Wonder on the Wisteria Wonder cardstock, and see these 3 little daisies. All the stamps I used today are part of the Daisy Delight stamp set. Okay, so before we put our daisy on, let's go ahead. I've got my bone folder. Let's curl these up a little bit. So put it between your thumb. You know how you do the curling ribbon? There we go. Just give it a little bit so it's not quite so flat. Probably by the time you mail it and it goes through the machine, it'll be flat again anyway, but it's sure pretty to look at before you do. Or if you hand deliver it. There we go. That really makes a difference, doesn't it? And we can do that to the bottom ones as well. Except for I'm going the wrong way. We want to curl up. So let's do it from the back side so you can see what I'm doing. Just like I said, like the curling ribbon, but not as rough. We don't have to pull very tight to get our cardstock to just bend oh so slightly. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Giving it some dimension. Talking about dimension, that's how we're going to add that. Stampin' Dimensionals. Love these. So these foam adhesive dots, let's peel one of those off. So it's sticky on that side. Let's put this right in the center. And then to peel it off, if you take your thumbnail, even with a short nail, it works just fine. It makes the edges pop up. Okay. So we're going to place that, oh, isn't that pretty, right about there. And then our banner, we're going to use the Fast Fuse adhesive. Here we go. So put your finger where those ridges are. And normally I'd say about 1 inch in each quarter, but this is so short that we'll just do one long strip. And we're going to place this above our stamped, oh, so, so pretty, our stamped little daisies. Our banner is just looking oh so lovely. And so now we have the leaves to put on. And you could use Fast Fuse, or if it's easier to use, mini glue dots. Now, Fast Fuse works really great for me. Here we go. We just need to catch it on, well, you could catch it on the whole thing for that matter. Well, not the whole thing, because it's going to go off the edge. Oops, that's sticking to me. This is such a good adhesive. Oh my goodness, so nice and strong. Okay, and so I wanted the daisy to be raised up, and these flat on the paper to give our daisy more depth. Come over here, tuck one in. You know, we won't press down till we're really pleased with where we have them. Because once we do, we're not going to get them up without tearing something. Oh, I think that placement looks good, so now let's put that down. Okay, so here I have the Wisteria Wonder for the card base and that beautiful pattern of paper. And look at this. Oh my goodness, this is a 1/8 inch old olive sheer ribbon. So pretty. I like how delicate it is. Now, because we're going to put this over top of it, the Fast Fuse is great, but you really want it when it's flat. Like my Daffodil Delight cardstock, it's flat against that, but this isn't going to allow it to lay flat. So then we use the mini glue dots. Okay, they're super strong adhesive dots. We're going to peel them back so we can see them in the light, and we don't want to touch them. We're going to take the cardstock to it, press down. We don't want to touch them because we don't want to take away from that extreme stickiness. Okay, so one in each corner will be just enough. And we can move our ribbon to wherever we want. I think I want up a little bit higher. We'll just slide it up. Okay, let's just put this down at the top. Okay, and I want that ribbon to come up. It's pretty good on that side between the fishtail right there. Let's secure this at the top and oh, right there. So now all we have to do is pick our tails up and over. And see, this is why I didn't need that other side filled in, because I knew the ribbon would cover that. And if we want, we can even rotate the ribbon a little bit to come in a little bit more. Okay. Pick up our loops. There we go. Oh, so, so pretty. And our daisy looks so much prettier. Let's get that up and over. There we go. And so much prettier than just stamped with the white with that extra shading we did to coordinate with our designer series paper. Oh, we've got one finishing touch. I got done. I thought, boy, that looks nice, but I wonder, and boy, I really like it. I have the gold faceted gems, the largest one. We're going to peel that off. Okay, here. Let's press down first to make sure the adhesive is stuck really well to that plastic so it comes up with it. There we go. And put that in the center. So I can still see the Daffodil Delight I did around it, but wow, isn't that a beautiful finishing touch? I'm so glad I remembered to show you that. These are new and just, they're going to add beautiful, beautiful touches to our cards. We have them in gold and in clear. So there you go, a beautiful, delightful daisy card that really pretty doggone easy to make. If you'd like to make my Daisy Delight card, all the supplies are listed under the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. And if you'd like the card measurements, underneath the video you'll find a link to the blog post with them. I'm Shelly Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamped smiles. Thanks for watching.